What's up, YouTube? Scott here with the Carrera Cafe. Finally got some warmer temperatures here in the Midwest. We're going to go ahead and get the 911 out, get it warmed up, and give it a bath. But we're going to hop in and just take it for a quick drive and kind of give you guys an update on where things stand with the channel. So go ahead and hop in and get her cold started here. Alright. Nice smooth idle, oil pressure. We're in good shape. I'm gonna grab my sunglasses out of their other car. Don't worry guys, this is a rental car. The saga continues on the autobiography I bought, so this is my rental currently here. Not quite as smooth as I'd like, but it's cold. Once it warms up and kind of smooths out nicely, it's probably one of the things we're gonna look into next on this car is the ignition control module. Get it out of the garage here so we don't suffocate. If you've been following along on the channel, you'll notice that the car is no longer obnoxiously loud. In one of my prior videos, I talked about doing the Fab Speed muffler bypass. I'll put a link in the description for that. If you're interested in making your air-cooled 911 louder, it's certainly a pretty cost-effective option, but you certainly you're going to get attention. It's loud. Too loud for my use, so I'm going to look at other options. So in the meantime, I've got the factory exhaust put back on. So that is one of the appeals, though, the Fab Speed muffler bypass, is it's just bolt on, bolt off, so it is something you can do yourself. I'm really happy it's starting to get warm. I've been missing driving this thing. I did drive it when it was cold out, but we got a bunch of salt and ice melt on the roads that I really just didn't want to expose the car to. So looking forward to bringing you guys a little bit more consistent content now that the weather is shaping up for us. So let's talk about kind of plans for this year with the car and with the channel. So this is a vehicle that's definitely going to stay in my garage. I plan to have some other vehicles come and go. Like I said, if you've been following the channel, you know that I bought a L405 Land Rover Range Rover supercharged autobiography. It has been a little problematic, so I haven't been able to bring you too much content around it just yet. Throughout the year, I'll be cycling through other cars as well. But this is definitely a car that's going to remain in the garage. So a couple things on the forefront for this year. I just picked the car up this week. I had the rear rotors and pads done. They were just, you could start to kind of feel a little bit of pressure, a little feedback in the brake pedal. You know, I would typically take on brakes myself, but I just, convenience and it being cold out, and I have a local indie shop that I trust, so I just went ahead and had them do it. But next thing on the list this year, I want to do rear torsion bars and bushings. So once it starts to get warmer outside, my suspension gets pretty chatty, and I believe that is due to the torsion bar bushings. So I'm gonna get those on the list to replace this year, and hopefully it kind of quiets things up a bit. I do want to get a little bit of body work in this year. My passenger door has a couple little dings. It's almost like at some point during the ownership, somebody rested the car door on something in their garage. So I want to get that taken care of. I want to find a different exhaust solution since the Fab Speed was too loud. But other than that, I just want to enjoy the car. I want to take some road trips this year, maybe with the PCA or just some other car folks, because I did buy this car to drive it. This thing certainly isn't going to just sit in my garage all year. I mentioned earlier, I think I'm gonna try replacing the ignition control module. The car idles a little low sometimes. Like right now it's okay because it's already warmer out. But when it's cold, I get a pretty inconsistent idle. So I'm gonna look into that. Temp head sensor. It could be just plugs and coils, you know, but I'm gonna probably start investing a little bit into the ignition system. But oil's getting warmed up, so we'll start having some fun here in a bit. We got oil in our reservoir, which is great. If you're maybe newer to air-cooled Porsche ownership, the gauges could be a little confusing. The Druck press here, you could think of that as essentially oil pressure. So I was told kind of expect 1.5 bars per 1,000 RPM once the car is actually warm, once the oil is loosened up. Oil temp is over here. If you look really hard, I won't be able to get to it, but on the side, there's actually numbers on your oil temp gauge. You just can't see them. You got to stick your head around the side. You can actually see the temperature readings in there. And then we've got an oil gauge here, and this is actually just the level of your oil reservoir. So although we call these Porsches air-cooled, I would argue that they're oil-cooled. And this is a reservoir that holds a few quarts of oil. And when you're driving, as the car deems necessary, oil leaves that reservoir and routes to the front of the car and through the engine to cool things. So you can see as I'm driving, my oil level has gotten lower here, and that doesn't mean I don't have any oil in the engine, that means the reservoir doesn't. Now, as I coast back to a stop here, put the car in neutral and coast, you will see that my oil pressure goes back up here in that reservoir because oil is starting to return to that reservoir. I see a lot of Porsches where this is just pegged one way or the other. I think this is a pretty common gauge to not work, but fortunately they all work in my vehicle. I'm gonna wait a little longer on the oil temp and then we'll start having some fun. Those of you that have these cars know they want to be driven and revved out. If you just putz around town under 2,500 RPMs in your ownership of these vehicles, it's gonna remind you and let you know. So it's good to get these things out, have a little bit of spirited fun, because they like it. Like I said, I'm just happy to have the car out in some nice weather, windows down. Tell you what, I am absolutely not a Tesla fan or a fan of electric cars, but wow, has the market dramatically come down. You can get a Model 3 Performance for sub $30,000, which is a heck of a lot of car for that kind of money. If you can live with no sound and true excitement like you get in a vehicle like this. This weekend, my wife and I looked at an Audi e-tron Sportback, which is essentially a Q5 with an electric powertrain. And again, it was an $88,000 car 3 years ago, and you can now buy it for $27,000. And it still has, I don't know, 4 years and 60,000 miles left on its battery warranty. I mean, you're getting a nearly brand new Audi with big digital infotainment, 2 large screens, Bang & Olufsen, heated, cooled seats, 360 cams for under 30 grand if you can live with an electric car. I'm certainly not, you know, pro electric car, but man, if your budget was 30 grand and you don't care about some of the excitement you get from a naturally aspirated car like this 911, the depreciation factor makes that pretty appealing. So hopefully this Tesla turns a different way up here so we can get on some of these windy roads and have a little bit of fun. And of course they're going straight. I'll probably roll my windows up just to make sure you guys don't get too much wind noise. Just want you guys to be able to hear that flat six. Road's a little bumpy down here. But you know what? The car's been pretty much winterized for a few months. Other than checking the tire pressure and starting it every 10 days or so, I haven't really done anything. It's been on the battery tender and just fires right up and drives. I mean, it's dead straight, no weird wobbles or sounds. I mean, just goes to show that a properly maintained air-cooled 911, you know, can be a pretty reliable ownership experience. Ultimately, these cars are pretty simple. There's not a whole lot to them. Looking forward to this year with the channel. I really want to focus on a little bit more cinematic content for you guys. Still do some review work, still do some DIY projects, but just kind of keeping you guys updated on the garage as I get different vehicles. We're going to be coming up on some twisty roads here, and hopefully this Tesla goes the other way so we can have some fun. Kind of sucks we are driving into the sun currently, but so let's talk a little bit about the car market while things are warming up here, just in general. You know, I'm always buying and selling cars, and the car market is a little bit in shambles. You drive by your local Jeep, Dodge, Chevy dealer, and holy cow, are there going to be tons of brand new cars. Heavy markdowns. Inventory is just not moving. I think dealers, their gravy train is running out. And because people aren't buying new cars, it's starting to impact the used car market around some of the vehicles that I buy, right? I like to buy Porsches and other German vehicles that are a couple years old, few years old. Those are starting to, you know, come down in value more because they're not selling either. What you're going to find is anybody who wasn't maybe the most savvy car buyer that bought something in the last 1 to 4 years, depending on their financial situation in that car, they might be stuck. Dealers are going to start running out of people to sell cars to because people are so upside down in their vehicles. Trade values just don't line up anymore. I believe automotive defaults are on the up. So, I mean, I do think that we're going to start seeing a kind of a crashing car market, and, you know, us enthusiasts are going to be kind of popping out from behind the corner, lurking to see what kind of deals we can get. I think that we're approaching a time when you can start really getting some good deals on cars because people just aren't going to be able to sell them. There's not as many people able to buy cars right now because of the current financial situation. So, obviously that impacts when you sell a vehicle too, though. So it kind of go hand in hand, but I have the luxury of sitting on vehicles and if I need to, and so I'm actually, one of the vehicles I'm looking to buy right now is a Lexus LX570. If you guys know what that is, essentially it's a full-size Toyota Land Cruiser with Lexus badging on it, some more luxurious amenities. I want like a 2016, 2017, 2018, and that's still a $50,000 SUV with 80, 90, 100,000 miles on it, believe it or not. And there's not a single one for sale within 100 miles of where I live. I have to go 300 to 500 miles out to find even just a handful. So I'm trying to find an LX570, and to my surprise, it's been a little bit harder to negotiate on that vehicle. I think notoriously those depreciate slow. I haven't had the success that I want, but if you're in the market for a more common vehicle, man, if you want to go buy a Jeep Grand Cherokee or some new electric vehicle, big discounts, big discounts. Walk into the dealer, ask for discounts. Don't make it about payment, whether you're leasing or financing. Talk about the sale price. Because we are getting into a time when dealers are going to stop moving cars. They're not selling right now. So you have the upper hand. Don't let somebody tell you otherwise. I'll be curious to see how it impacts the air-cooled market. You know, no doubt 911s have increased in value. Some might call it a bubble. I think the values are here to stay. There might be a little bit of a dip just in general car buying because everything else is, but people who are spending 60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 on an air-cooled 911, they're probably not in a situation that's, oh, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, I can't afford the payment. More than likely, people buy these things outright with cash or through lines of credit or whatever they might do. So hopefully the air-cooled 911 market retains itself, because I did kind of pitch this vehicle to the wife as an investment that we can drive and enjoy. So with that said, I'm going to flip around up here. So A, we're not driving into the sun, and B, there's hopefully nobody in front of us, and I'm going to shut up and do some driving for you guys. And then we're just going to take the car home and give it a nice foam bath. Nobody coming. Nice little U-turn there. This thing feels so much better with the new rotors and pads. Tell you what, with the exhaust back to stock, you definitely fly under the radar a little bit more. I drive these same back roads a lot, and I definitely don't get the nasty looks anymore with this exhaust back on, because it's not anywhere near as loud. With the fab speed, I could be going 30 miles an hour and it sounds like I'm going 100 miles an hour to the untrained person. So, little blind spot here, we'll hit second. Oh yeah. Oh, did I miss that sound? Hit second again here. Braking. We'll roll the windows down a little bit, get you some sound. Hopefully not too much wind noise. Hit second here. Backfire. Ooh, gravel. Gotta be careful there. Man. Gravel driveways out here. Come on. Tell you what, for only 200 and change horsepower, this is a lot of fun. You don't even have to drive fast. Just the connected steering and that sound. Oh yeah. Oh, and the brakes feel so much better. I'm probably gonna need to do front rotors and pads next though. All right, we'll get a nice straight line rip here. Oh yeah. All right. We're officially, we've got the oil up to temp. So we're just gonna cruise back home and kind of do a little AMSR, ASMR, whatever the kids are calling it these days. We'll do a little wash, probably fly the drone above it while I'm hitting it with the foam gun. And I appreciate you guys joining. Looking forward to bringing you guys more content this year. Hoping to keep investing kind of into the camera setup, and look forward to taking you guys along for the ride.